for staying with us. Now, the Rotaract Club of Kingston has since conceptualized and launched an initiative to raise funds and or obtain tangible donations towards the cause for the safe reopening of the St. Barnabas Early Childhood Development Centre located on Love Lane. Also, over the years, they have hosted at least one clothing drive annually to assist the less fortunate with basic needs of warm clothes. To tell us some more about these projects, we're joined by Wade Edwards-Green. He's the president of the club, as well as Toni-Moy Stewart. She's the director of community service. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having us.
All right, so Mr. President, I will start with you in terms of why do you think it's important for us to join service clubs and how do you impact Jamaicans?
Right, so the problem that we're having in not just Jamaica, but in other communities as well, is the fact that there's so many needs, but there is a lack of continuation in terms of the access to those needs for people to partner with presenting resources, etc. So what service clubs do, they raise awareness, they empower the communities to be a part of that change, and then we come together as leaders, exchange ideas, problem solve, pool our resources to effectively have change in these communities and for it to be sustainable beyond just my year as president, but in years to come. RCOK specifically has been around for 50 years, and we've seen that continuation of change in our communities.
What are the pillars or areas that you focus on in terms of giving back to the community?
Okay, so the causes that we champion are basic education and literacy.
Basic education
and
literacy.
Peace and conflict resolution, disease treatment and prevention, growing local economies.
Nice.
We also do saving mothers and children, and we have a new one now, environment and climate change, and let's not forget water and sanitation.
Oh, that's quite a big mandate though, don't you think?
I think so, but the amazing thing about it is that we have different backgrounds, different mindsets, different things that we can do to contribute, one, and the needs are vast. Why not make it wide so we can pool our resources and access different things so our communities can develop overall?
Who are some of the members or what kind of persons join the Rotaract Club of Kingston?
All right, so it's basically young professionals. And if you look at Rotaract itself, it's over 200,000 individuals in over 180 countries. And we represent just a smaller pool of that, 18 and above. And it also gives them the opportunity to develop themselves professionally and socially. So it's not just about giving back, but we're creating leaders in workplaces and in our communities. So beyond just RCOK or Rotaract Club of Kingston, they can still have an impact.
So you don't have to be a member of parliament or a councillor to give back. You can give back in smaller community groups as well.
Exactly, and everyone's vocation has an impact.
Yeah.
It's not just about being a doctor or a lawyer or a politician. What you do contributes to society. So let's use what you know and what you have access to create a bigger scope.
Right. So Toni, in terms of creating a bigger scope and making an impact, you are the director of community service. Now, in terms of this year, tell me about the projects you're going to be handling.
Our projects are vast this year, but the main one we want to focus on now is assisting St. Barnabas Early Childhood Development Centre. They are an inner city basic city school located on Love Lane in Fetchersland, as stated prior. Since COVID, there have been a paramount amount of issues that they're currently faced with. Additionally, there were regulations that were stipulated for the safe reopening of schools. Because of their location and the resources that are available to them, there are some challenges with meeting these regulatory requirements. And we saw that need, and knowing that we have a long-standing relationship with this institution, we decided to step in as an entity, as an organization, to assist them, because education is the foundation for us all. And if we can assist them from such a young age to ensure that they get access to education, we will be doing great justice and service to our country.
So you're seeking what kind of items for them?
Okay, so currently we're seeking cubby shelves and holes for small storage spaces, because the greatest challenge now is to have enough floor space to accommodate the students.
Describe what is a cubby shelf from, I'm not sure.
Cubby shelves are basic small holes where you can put whether it is shoes, manipulatives that the children use, playing instruments for their daily usage. We want to take it off of the grounds that they're currently stored on or on the walls, but to make it more compact where we can increase the floor space available to accommodate these students.
And age appropriate as well.
And age appropriate as well. The school complement is actually 40 at this time.
Okay.
It's a ratio of 10 children to 1 teacher.
That's good.
Yes, it's a very good ratio. And assisting with making the floor more accessible to accommodate these children is one of the main things. Secondary, we would also want to assist in acquiring individual desk and chair space. Now is the time where the kids have to be social distancing. They can't be sharing their daily manipulatives. So we want to have individual desk appropriate size, child size appropriate units for the children to use. Additionally, we would also want to get individual play mats for the younger babies. So that's the 2 to the 3-year-old. They won't necessarily have a need for a physical desk space, but they would need to have their individual space for them to play on, for them to do their little activities on. And these individual play mats would be able to foster that for them.
So if one of the viewers watching now can donate one of the items or just like to donate some money towards acquiring the items, how would they be able to do so?
Okay, well, they can reach out to us. It's posted on our social media pages. So we're active on our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. They can also reach out to us individually as members. And they can also contact the station as well if they're interested in assisting us in any way, shape, or form.
For somebody who is watching and they're just not convinced that service clubs work or it's just too much, each of you, and note that you'd say to them, let's start with you, Wade, what would you say to that viewer?
I think first and foremost, we see the need and we all have a part to play in that impact. So outside of just RCOK, we want to raise awareness and each person can contribute to that development in society. So don't just see the need and feel as though you should be detached from it. There's something that you can contribute to the well-being of your society. So join, contribute, and let's work to have that togetherness to ensure that we can foster greater impact in our communities.
Before I go to Tony, why did you decide to join Rotaract or the Rotary Club of
My
Kingston?
dad actually impacted me. He was a member of parliament and he was also a Rotarian. And just seeing the level of service that he had, it really was something I grew up seeing and I wanted to be a part of that. You know, I was so inspired by that. So being able to be a part of that change, it really was something that developed me as an individual. And I want to ensure that I could give back continuously to ensure that it was continued in that sense.
How many years have you been a part of the
5 years. I actually met you.
Right, my former, I wouldn't say my former life, some former years, and I was also a director of community service.
I remember that because you worked with us at Barnabas as well.
Indeed, it's a very special institution, and the teachers there, they are so grateful.
And they're so dedicated as well. They're really working in difficult situations, but they have such passion, dedication to those kids. It's amazing to see.
And for you, Toni, let's start with why you joined the club.
I think the reason mainly why I joined Rotaract was to become something bigger than myself, to be a part of an entity that thinks about service above self. I think that's a great accomplishment. And one thing that separates Rotaract from various other service clubs is that we actually assist and place emphasis on the professional development of our members. So it's not just giving back to society and giving back to your community, but also developing yourself as an individual. So that's the greatest thing, and that's the main reason why I decided to join Rotaract.
How many years have you been a part of the club?
RCOK 2.5 years, but I was a Rotaractor when I was in university.
So you're now growing with the service.
Yes.
There's also a clothing drive. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, our clothing drive, the deadline is the 19th of September, and we are actively seeking donations of lightly worn clothing items.
So anything?
Yeah, anything, because our category, we aren't specifically targeting any one entity. We are partnering potentially with St. Anthony, Marie Atkinson, Matthew 25.
And the Golden Age Home.
The Golden Age Home as well. So 4 entities, yes.
So the demographic is wide.
So babies, adults, mothers, fathers, the age range varies and the needs are various. whether it is casual, work, clothes, anything.
Where
like
do
that.
we take these items to?
All right, so Melmac Dental Care in Crossroads, 12 Melmac Avenue will be the site where we're hosting the clothing drive. So they can go in, drop it off, we give them a sign-in sheet, and we actually give them 10% off on cleanings, examinations, fillings and extractions once they bring a bag of clothes in.
That is so lovely.
Yes.
If somebody would like to join your club, tell me how membership goes.
Okay, so with membership, they typically come to our meetings, at least 3 meetings within a 2-month period. They join a committee, whether it's fundraising, professional development, international service, community service, right? And it's about compatibility and their interest and involvement. So once they have that alliance going and the interactions are flowing, we tend to ask them about membership, and then based on that, if there is compatibility, we go ahead with the process.
Well, with COVID-19, meetings are no longer physical. So have you adjusted to being virtual?
It's been on Zoom, and our meetings have been amazing. Our last meeting was actually on why should we vote in terms of youth participation.
Yes.
We've had meetings on mental health with COVID, for example. So Zoom has now been our new platform. It's interesting to adjust it because we're such a family and we like to interact in
Feed off the
person.
energy.
We do, but you have to adjust. Life goes on, and as much as possible, we want to maintain those connections and improve on them despite the pandemic.
How many members do you have in your club right now?
Right now, we have 30 members, and we have about 50 prospects.
Ah,
Yes.
They're expanding.
We're
expanding indeed. And just remind us where we follow you on social media again.
So, Rotaract Club of Kingston on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Okay.
And if they need our email, they can contact kingstonrotaractclub@gmail.com.
Wade, Toni-Moy, thank you so much for joining us and giving us all this wonderful information. I hope that we do have some viewers who will be donating towards St. Barnabas,
Yes.
as well as towards the clothing drive, because we see the work that you're doing for the wider community.
Right.
Thank you so much for having us.
We would also like to thank Fontana and specifically Shakeen Brown. They have donated thus far to the cause, and we're entirely grateful, and we are anticipating more partners with different organizations.
All right, no problem. Okay, it's now time for us to go to our final look at traffic for